Welcome back to the show. Today's guest is living proof that one small act of faith can change thousands of lives. David Irby is the founder of Surge Soccer, a nonprofit that brings hope to communities around the world through the power of soccer. He's coached across every level from LA Galaxy's youth teams to professional clubs. He's authored several books, including Sports Ministry and Sammy Surge, and trained leaders across 47. David, welcome to the show. I'm so honored to have you here.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your introduction, and it's nice to be with you.
Dave, let's just start at the beginning. How did you go from being a soccer coach to starting Surge Soccer and truly building it into the global movement that it's become today?
Well, yeah, thanks for the question. I have to take you back in time quickly because my vision from the time I was 4 years old was to be a history teacher like my father. And there was no one playing soccer then, literally, when I was growing up as a kid in Anaheim, California, near Disneyland. And so at 19, my fate changed because I transferred from a community college to tiny Azusa Pacific College in Southern California, and they started their men's soccer team that year. And I decided to play, and then I fell in love with it. I said, wow, this is really cool. You don't have to be like a basketball player. You don't have to be tall like a basketball, big like a football player. I mean, everyone's a quarterback. And this is great. And so I fell in love with the game and decided I switched my major then to physical education and social studies, eventually getting a double major and a teaching credential and a master's degree, planning to teach and coach at a university. And at 21, I coached high school soccer. At 23, I became the head coach at the university. And it was all about winning. I just wanted to win. I was consumed with it. But it seemed like the more we won and the better we did, the less satisfying it was. There was that tug kind of in my heart that there's more to life than just winning soccer games. And it actually was, I went to a chapel because there's a Christian university, and the speaker said, hey, I want you to raise your hand if you want to make a difference in the world. He said, of course, for Christ. And I found myself raising my hand saying, there's more than just winning soccer games. And I ended up taking the men's soccer team down to Mexicali on the Easter outreach. And we played a game in the men's prison, and we played on a dirt field covered with broken glass where you knew the ball's out of bounds because it hit the fans. You had to dodge the dogs running across the field. I mean, it was, not your major league soccer experience. And then we went in the boys' prison, and through interpreters, I asked the head of the orphanage in Mexico why the boys were in there. And he said, most of them are in there because nobody cares about them. They have nowhere to go. And it broke my heart right on the spot. I said, wow, this is not a world I know or am used to. But what I saw then is that we could connect with people through soccer. And then I started thinking and praying, how can I use soccer to win, of course, but do more than that? And that began my journey into what we call soccer ministry. And there wasn't really any going on then. And that journey's led me to 47 countries. I've been back to Mexico to an orphanage we work with 70 times. And I'm always wearing soccer jerseys. Today is the Austrian national team. We've worked with refugees a lot who flooded in from the Middle East and helped design soccer projects. So I'm always wearing a soccer jersey. But that little 5-day trip to Mexico showed me that soccer is a powerful connector. And we can connect with people. I didn't know at the time around the world or that I would be traveling around the world. It was just that first step, like you took with your business or anyone, whatever we do. We get a vision and then we take that first step, not always knowing where that step is going to lead us.
Yeah, absolutely. That's such a great and powerful story. I love how you really took a leap of faith in changing your major and just pursuing this full time. And gosh, I can't imagine all of the different places that you've been. 47 countries is a lot. I haven't even been to 47 states here in America.
Well, either have I.
So that's really exciting. And I can see how blessed this journey has been for you. For those who may not know, what exactly is Surge Soccer and how do you use this sport to bring hope and healing to those in different countries?
Yeah, well, thank you. So this is the third nonprofit I've helped. I didn't found the first two, but I was the first staff member to really come in and shape them. And then I felt led, kind of like you've done, to branch out on my own, and a lot of people do. And so I founded it as Surge International, and our trade name is Surge Soccer. And you kind of explained it in the beginning, but So we see soccer as a great connector to go anywhere in the world. And our principle is love your neighbor as yourself. And through soccer, everyone's pretty much our neighbor. I mean, we can go anywhere. Here's the banana leaf soccer ball I picked up in Uganda. I mean, they're going to
Wow.
play with anything. This other one, I used to throw in the crowd, but it freaked people out. But this is made out of government issued condoms, Kenya, from the government, and they make soccer balls. They're
No
not
way.
used, but somehow they shape plastic bags. So the point is, soccer is just about anywhere. And so what we do then, because we get now, because the internet requests from all over the world for help, what does that help look like? Well, we assess the needs of the people asking for help. And then we form partnerships to meet those needs, whether they're educational, spiritual, or social. So a vivid example would be we're currently working in Liberia. And thanks to technology, I don't have to commute to work every day because it takes 5 airports and about 30 hours to get there. I go on a regular basis, but I can work on with WhatsApp from my home. So there it started with just doing leadership training. Then we saw educational needs. 2,000 teachers can't read. We found an education specialist here in the States to help us. And then we found they're still traumatized by 2 civil wars, the Ebola crisis, and COVID. And so we're doing leadership training in soccer, whole life coaching, and then leadership in the schools, and then trauma relief and visiting the schools. So we take soccer to do the soccer part, whether that's make a soccer project for refugees that are in Salzburg, Austria, to connect them with the Austrians or the ones in Liberia or in different countries. It's different every time, but soccer is the connector.
Yeah, and I can see a way by using soccer as a connector because it's so fun. And when you bring a sport into things, it just takes the pressure off. Everybody's just having fun. If they don't know how to play, it's relatively easy to learn. Just kick the ball down. You found a really exciting way to live life and do it serving others and for greater good and greater cause. I think that's really beautiful. What types of organizations do you currently partner with?
Well, Liberia, again, using that example, because in fact, yesterday we just completed our 6-week Zoom trauma relief education seminar for leaders there because there's still so many people traumatized by the Civil War. So that's a nonprofit we're partnering with. And then we partner with, they call them ministry, the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Youth and Sports, they're government organizations, and they just want help. How do we help kids? How do we teach them life principles? And we do it with our mascot and his children's book and visiting the schools. So those are government organizations. And then we work with other NGOs or nonprofits. A lot of places, of course, we work with churches. My last trip in April to Liberia, we trained 60 young leaders in how to roll out a Saturday afternoon soccer and Bible program. And 21 of the 22 churches started that almost immediately. The kids have nothing to do, and they're just trying to come in and love on them, care for them, have fun with them, teach them life principles. And then in our affiliate in Rwanda that did that, started with one and now have 70 of those programs in a short period of time. They're getting scholarships for the kids who aren't in school. So it's like with anything we do, you start with a vision, and then if we're open, then that vision can just keep expanding and helping other people.
Absolutely. And being international, I mean, 47 different countries, now being in Rwanda and Liberia, how do you connect with or find these organizations? Are you referral based or are you part of any type of organization that connects you? What does that process look like?
We do have a connector organization, but through even LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, we're on all of them in some form. People find us now, and we are sadly turning down people that ask for help because there's just so many people that now are on social media. The Liberia one is just a very bizarre one in a way because the university coach called me, soccer coach said, Dave, I need you to think about going to Liberia. And so I told him I'd pray about it. I hung up the phone. And of course, I did the wrong thing. I said, God, I can't go to Liberia. There's no way. And now I've been there 5 times. We have 10 volunteers working in the US on the project. And we have 2 full-time staff and 5 interns in Liberia working for Surge Soccer. But I just have to write another letter to another group that just asks for help. And we just simply can't help everyone. So finding people and places is not hard. One of our specialties, we haven't done it for a while, but we pray, where is a difficult spot in the world? Where do people not want to go? Where is it dangerous? Not that, I'm a grandpa with 3 grandkids. I'm not looking to die in some crazy place, but where can we really make an impact?
Yeah.
Even in Austria, when we started working with the refugees, there were some threats there. On the train I take from Vienna to Salzburg, there had been a terrorist attack. The train station I always go to in Vienna, most of the time, 2 weeks before I came, a guy had tried to set off a bomb. We're not really looking to. I guess we're not really looking to make it dangerous for ourselves, but we're willing to take the risks if it's going to make a difference in a country like some of the places we've been.
Absolutely. And I mean, if you don't mind me asking, I know that you're having an influx of these organizations that are reaching out to you. Why do you have to turn them down? Is it that you don't have enough volunteers or staff to support, or is it something else?
It's partially what you said, our support network. I was in bigger organizations and developed them into big organizations. And I realized, like you, I'm an entrepreneur and I like to travel quick and fast. I like to move quickly. We have a great board of directors. If I come up with some crazy place to go, we have to write it up. We have to talk about it, pray over it. But it's not going to be in triplicate. And 3 years later, we're still deciding. You can move quickly with what you're doing. I can move quickly with what I'm doing. The other thing is we only help organizations where we have a contact with. Because I have this one, and it's heartbreaking to turn them down, an orphanage in a faraway country, and they're asking us for money every month. Well, I don't know anything about them. I don't know them. I have no direct connection. So we start with direct connections, people that we know and trust, and then it can expand from there. And for example, in Africa, most of our requests now, because we've done this project in Liberia for a while, other people in Africa, in other countries are finding out about us. But we always tell them we're grateful for what they're doing. We can only do so much, and we go through our leaders in Liberia. If they decide there's a project that they want to do, and they're connected to 25 leaders in multiple countries, if there's one they feel we should do, then we go through them to do it.
Absolutely. That makes sense. I like your perspective of,
Mm.
being an entrepreneur and being able to move fast and being able to make those decisions on your own and not having to answer, to anybody else or maybe not as many people as you
Mm-hmm.
would normally need to. So I can totally respect, needing that contact, working with direct contacts first, because I mean, I can only imagine, so many organizations, asking for support and financial means, and you don't know if they're going to the right places, or if it's what, they say they're doing. So I think that that's very smart. Would you say that that's how you prioritize where you serve?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. With that, and then there's another country that's been really asking us to come, and they're really in desperate shape. And my heart is always broken by all these years of we've been in places that are just tragic. So, Sudan during the Civil War, Uganda right afterward, into Burundi and Central Africa, doing a project to help prevent civil war using soccer. But we've seen the poorest of poor, and the people are always amazing. They're so great, and they just want hope. But this other one, the contacts, they just aren't clicking. My heart says, just get on a plane and go. Just go and start the process. But I know I'm not supposed to. I need a little bit more before we commit time and resources. And many of the projects, like we're not in 47 countries, we've been to them, but many of them, we aren't the follow-up. The follow-up is training the people there to do it. And then we can, of course, through technology, help out and then go back if really needed. But we just can't go to a place just to go. We really, you have to think about it, pray about it. Your gut comes into play as far as, whether to take on the project or not.
Yeah. So, what would you say exactly that Surge does? So, you mentioned about, I know we have the soccer aspect, but then you also mentioned about training their people to kind of carry the load.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly does your mission look like other than just the soccer aspect of it?
Yeah. So I would say the main thing that I do is leadership training, and that is training coaches from what we call grassroots, the beginners, to even the top professionals, say in Liberia, where I do special topics. And the thrust of the leadership is not just the soccer part, make it interesting, make it fun, make it relevant, but also, one of my colleagues in Liberia wrote a book and he talks about the fatherless generation. So the coach is not their parent, but the coach is the only role model many of them have, or maybe the teacher at school if they're in school. So we're training them in those life principles. And then we meet with the Ministry of Education. Okay, they want us to get soccer into all the schools and our life principles. So we're not always playing soccer with those kids. We're going to visit those kids with our mascot. We have a good time, but then we talk about important life principles. And then, of course, our education specialist is doing all sorts of great things with training from Colorado and visits when we go. Training teachers, it's also then with the trauma part. So Liberia is one on its own. We've never done the trauma relief, but because we came with soccer, and we saw the need, and we were able to match specialists here in the U.S. and different organizations in our own that wanted to help. So now we have the leadership training, the whole life coaching, inspiring the kids. I just saw that only 50.1% of Liberian kids are even in school. And as the great Nelson Mandela said, education is one of the best ways out of poverty. Others have said that as well. So we need to inspire those kids by going to the schools and getting them to, we use our children's book, Sammy Surge, and have them do writing and reading contests. So that's the non-soccer part, but soccer connected us. And the same with the trauma. We were connected. And then the husband of our education specialist went to Liberia not knowing what he was going to do. And the first day he had a radio interview and he said he's a trauma counselor. Oh, we need that. 20 years after the Civil War, they're still traumatized and need help coming out of that trauma. So I don't even sit in on that. They just let me know what's happening. So soccer, leadership training, school visits, training teachers, and helping leaders to help others with their trauma. All because we connected with this thing.
It's too funny.
Yeah. Maybe I answered your question. Maybe I just went around in circles. I'm not sure.
No, that was perfect. I think it's really insightful to be able to identify more, because at least for me, I see the front facing, the soccer aspect of it. I don't see the day to day, like what's actually going on in the background, like how exactly are you making this mission, and how are you doing it globally, and all of the hours and the effort that you're spending with these organizations and with the children, and really making an impact. You're really leaving the global footprint, and I think that's really admirable. So we thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
your support in that way.
Thank you.
Yeah. So can you share a little bit on the staffing side of things? I know that you do staffing, you're kind of like doing placement within this, you're training these leaders. How do you find the leaders in these organizations or these different countries, and what does your selection process look like to choose, the right candidates essentially?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So actually, for Liberia, for example, I was not involved in the process of deciding who would come to the seminar or seminars that I'm going to do. In fact, when I first went to go to Liberia, the Liberian that lived here and the coach that recruited me were going to go with me. They dropped out. And now it's me, and I'm going, am I still going? I don't even know anyone in Liberia anymore. And then our vice president, who lives near Atlanta, Georgia, said he would go. And then the Liberian was here and said, well, I'll have some guys pick you up at the airport. So this one, it's not that master plan, but we felt called to go. And I got to the airport at 4:45 in the morning in Portland and said, oh, all your flights have been canceled. So we had to scramble, and we got there. And the federation there, the Liberian Football Association, they picked the top 60 coaches in the country to come to it. So they brought them in, and then my job was to train them. So on the soccer part, they do that. And the two guys that picked me up at the airport on that first trip, they told me we need to have Surge Soccer here. And I said, well, we don't really do that. We train you, and we help you to carry on your mission under your name. And the young guy stood up and said, we are having Surge Soccer here. I
Oh,
go,
okay.
so I said, okay. And so I came back and with our board, and they gave us a proposal. We talked it over, we prayed it over, and said, okay, we'll set them up. And they're actually autonomous, Surge Soccer Liberia, but we are all in on supporting them and helping them to develop. So those leaders were already developed, and now they're training interns. We have 4 gals, young gals, and we're training them in leadership. And they're helping us in soccer. One of them is an unwed mother, and her dream is to open a home for unwed mothers. So our goal is not to keep them with Surge Soccer. It's to give them some leadership experience and then help them go and fulfill their own dream. Another one wants to start an orphanage, one of the other gals. And then one of the other guys is just writing driving a little taxi around to support his family, and we help support him. You can't tell him, it's a secret. He's our mascot. No one's supposed to know who the mascot is. Sammy, he's the mascot, and he loves it. And so I think he's going to stay with us to go visit the children. Yeah.
That's really exciting. I love that that organization in particular, they picked their top finest and brought them to you, and they're like they wanted you there to be there. So that says a lot about what you're doing and your reputation in the space as well.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
and I think that's really great. What would you say is going really well for Surge right now?
Yeah, I think just I've been doing this for a long time in a lot of countries and a lot of years, and I just always came back having done the soccer part, but always wanting to do more and knowing we should be doing more, praying we would do more. And it's just amazing how it went from that first trip that was canceled, and then we went 3 days later, just our vice president Al and I. Now we have 10 volunteers here in the US helping primarily on the education and on the trauma side. So it's grown from 2 to 10. In Liberia, it's grown from 2, and then the five interns, and then multiple organizations, and like I said, including the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Youth and Sports, the Federation. They're saying, come, keep coming, keep helping. Let's keep helping develop our country. So that's really going really well, which is our main project right now. Not that I'm not doing other things in other countries, and I just was training some coaches by WhatsApp, helping in South Africa, and a coaches training that was a direct result of my last trip. And then I've been invited to Rwanda for next year, where I've never been. I've always thought about going to, prayed about. Um, yeah, but Liberia is a great example. And then 2 weeks ago, I was in Huntington Beach, California, with our mascot. Two churches had a vacation Bible school, and we were the featured guests. Well, really, our mascot. I don't know how much they care about me, but our mascot, he's cool. And the kids went out and raised money to help us for the kids in Liberia. And they raised
Wow.
the kids, they sold lemonade, whatever they did, and they had a total. And you'll be pleased to know the boys beat the girls like they always do in these things. So the leaders of the boys group got dunked, got splattered with paint or whatever, but they raised $2,400. And so they're teaching those children to have an awareness of the world, and to pray for the world, and that they can help, even if it's just $1 here or $5 there. You don't have to wait, until people say, oh, when I've made my millions, I'm going to serve and I'm going to give money. I don't think many people say that, but some people do. But you don't have to wait. Why wait? You can help when you're a kid.
Definitely. Oh, that's such a great reminder. Gosh, I'm a mom, so I have two littles. I have a 4-year-old and I have a 12-year-old.
Oh, okay.
So trying to instill those morals and supporting other countries and being grateful for what you have here. And sometimes you see commercials and the kids will ask about the kids and the situation or whatever that looks like. So it's always
Mm-hmm.
nice to be able to remind them that they can serve, and they can support others in other countries. And
Mm-hmm.
I just was reminded because I almost forgot, but I think I should do this for my kids too. But growing up in the church, I always
Mm-hmm.
I forget what it's called. I just lost the name of the organization, but when you adopt a child and you support them over time, and I always had like a buddy that I would support, a boy or a girl, and I
Mm-hmm.
would pen
Yeah.
pal them, write letters and stuff.
Was it World Vision?
World Vision, yes.
We did that as well. Yes, that's a great organization.
Yeah, so I think that's so great how you were able to tie the kids in, they were able to support and also see their mission come to life too. That's so
Mm-hmm.
exciting.
Yeah, no, we really enjoy that. And the World Cup is coming next year to the U.S. And
Yes.
we're putting together our for any vacation Bible school or Christian school or church that wants to have a soccer camp, because that's one of our specialties I didn't mention. We help them make a really fun event where the kids, when they play each day, they represent a country. And the churches we've done it with, there's flags. So when the kids check in during the day, they check into their flag, and we have them make up their own country cheer, and they can go home and get bonus points for learning about their country and then coming back. So we make it into educational experience. And our goal is to hopefully be at 2 or 3 churches next year, but also then give them that master plan so they can reach out to the kids in their communities. And often the churches bring in kids that don't get taken care of or can't afford to go to some kind of cool camp. And these camps are so fun and so cool. So that's a big project we're working on for next summer now here in the US.
Wow, that's so exciting. I've always gone to VBS and different ones
Mhm.
throughout summer because they're only a week long.
Yeah,
So I always
exactly.
had to stay busy. And
Yes, exactly.
one of my favorites was sports camp. I played
Mm.
soccer once. It was in eighth grade. I wasn't very good. I was on the B team, but we didn't go to games. We went to one game, and actually, that one game, I was actually on defense, and I wasn't even supposed to be like a forward, but somehow I got the ball and I actually made a goal. And that was like
Whoa,
I tell my kids that all the time. That's my only highlight
that's
about soccer.
that.
But soccer camp was always super fun for me. So I can totally relate and identify
Yeah.
with the children that you're serving. So I'm sure that they get really excited to see you there and to be participating in these different activities. So that's really exciting for next year. Congratulations on that.
Well, thank you, and it's so cool because we bring the like our young leader in Liberia. We had him send a greeting to the kids, and so they get to go in and they get to then see photos of the kids they're supporting in the schools with our mascot there. And then last year we raised money for a car for our staff in Liberia because they were getting around. They have motorcycle taxis mostly, so they're going two or three on a motorcycle or getting taxis, and so now because of those kids, they have a car, and we have some really cool photos of Sammy Surge pretending to drive the car, our mascot with the players or the staff in there. But we're showing them the results of what they're doing and how they're helping in a country that is really in need. And the ironic thing about Liberia in December, a study came out of, I think there was actually millions of people that filled out the study. And from that, Liberia was ranked the fourth most generous country in the world as far as helping others. So you have a country that's the eighth, maybe at the eighth poorest or so in the world. But the people and the spirit, I mean, you don't want to leave. You just want to stay and be with them and hang out with them and help them because they're amazing. And we're getting to bring that we brought it to some schools in Orange County, California, a Christian school and two churches there that support us. And then we're hoping to inspire other churches to have their own version of what we do next year with the World Cup coming.
Yes, that's so exciting to be able to tie in the World Cup into everything that you're doing. I know you have some big goals for next summer, but where do you hope to take Surge over the next year or two?
Yeah. So that of course is a big one for next summer in our main focus being Liberia, and then expanding what we do, our school, especially our school program and leadership training. Our staff there, they're planning to go to Sierra Leone and expand there. And then we have one of our Surge alumni doing amazing outreach to youth in Indonesia. So we penciled in next year to visit him. He started ministry in a youth prison. His first team there actually had 6 juveniles that were murderers, and he just saw a real need to reach them. And then he expanded into the girls' prison. Now has halfway homes for the prisoners, and he's always doing so much with soccer. But then he also has taught doing not micro loans, starting businesses. They're not getting loans for it. Sorry, that's a different program. But teaching women how to do certain projects so they can earn a living as well. So again, soccer started it in a boys' prison, and now he's expanded it. And he's been asking me for 3 years that we need to get over there. Going there, and then we're working on with a couple of places. We'll see what happens of bringing some top youth players from Liberia to Europe to get that experience, and then see if any of them would qualify potentially stay and play or come back and play at some point. But the big thing will continue to be Liberia at this point and expanding, doing more there. And sorry, the last thing we're raising money now to get what we're calling a strategic planner, and we have someone who wants to start September 1st. So we're raising the funds, and she's one who then would go look for grants and funding so we can expand these programs. And even with our staff in Liberia, I mean, young staff member Doris, who's 28, 29, looking to get married. Some days he goes one meal a day. I mean, it's just the existence of living in Liberia, and never a complaint out of him. But we want to get basic funding for our staff there. I can always use a little help as well. We're always looking to raise money so that we're sustainable. But we really want to sustain the education projects, the leadership projects, and expand them from Liberia into other countries and into more schools with the kids as well. I
Yeah.
think that's enough. I'm worn out. How about you? That wears me out.
Yeah, that's I mean, you have some big goals. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
expanding one
Mm-hmm.
country, let alone into multiple other countries. I mean, it's a lot. kudos to you and to your family who supports you
Mm.
through all of
Mm-hmm.
this. That's
Mm-hmm.
really exciting to be able to, I can imagine, to be part of this journey with you and to see where it
Mm-hmm.
started and also where it's headed. And I know that you had mentioned about needing the finances and how those could always be a challenge. Would you say that that is your biggest challenge when it comes to being able to expand to other locations?
Yeah. Yes, I think it is. We're okay. We're content with what we're doing, but there's also that edge that we can do more. And I like having kind of it's a back and forth. It's kind of a tug. I'm grateful for what we're doing, but we would like to do more. And it does come down to that. With our capable staff in Liberia, we could send them just about anywhere in Africa, really. And we want to get to all the schools in Liberia. And that's a tall order in a country with about 6,500 miles of roads and only 650 are paved. And then there's the rainy season, and sometimes trucks get stuck for months at a time. So always having a good vehicle for them, because this one is a 20-year-old Toyota or whatever Highlander, which is good, but we're going to at some point need funding to have a newer vehicle because we do want to do more. So that is definitely the challenge, and that's why we hope starting September 1st we'll have this part-time strategic planner that will really start diving into looking at funding opportunities, grant opportunities.
Absolutely. Well, would you mind sharing a little bit about how people can help or get involved, at least from our listeners?
Yeah, and that's very kind of you to mention that. Of course, there's two things for us, or three. One is prayer. We really believe in that. We believe in the power of prayer. It changed my life, and that's a whole different podcast. I was going the wrong direction and going down, and I got to help from above, and I'm grateful for the Lord for that. But going to our website, surgesoccer.org. We love to have people. I'm just on Facebook as Dave Irby, but sometimes I post my life, but then I post the things we're doing. But we also have a Surge Soccer Instagram. And it's kind of cool. We just had 3,000 people look at this one we did in the National Stadium with a guy who was playing without cleats. But so people could go, they could let us know they're behind us by liking our posts. People could let us know through our website that they're praying for us. If they want to donate, of course, there's probably a big donate button on our website where people could just easily go. And sometimes people do. They just go and they see it and they make a one-time donation. The backbone for us is monthly donors, but one-time donors are great, and we get some surprise gifts. We just got one through LinkedIn. Someone on LinkedIn who played for me many years ago. I didn't even realize who he was at that point, and then a check came in, and I went, wait, I think that was one of my players many years ago. And I contacted him through LinkedIn, and he said, well, yeah, I just really love what you're doing, and I wanted to help. And then, of course, on the education side and trauma side, we more people want to help. We want to develop education, and we have a specialist in Colorado for both of those that I could steer them to if they want to get involved in any of that in our work directly. Or if a church says, "Hey, we're kind of interested in maybe having you guys," just reach out to me because we want to help. We want to help the youth in your community, who's ever. We once did 6 school assembly programs in New York. Our mascot and I for 3,000 kids. Just it was 5 schools, 3,000 kids in one day. So I mean, we can go anywhere. We've done school assemblies in Austria. We've done in California, New Jersey, or New Jersey, yeah, Oregon. We can visit schools. We can visit churches. Combined church and school visits. We really want to help, we want to serve, but we need people, of course, to help us do that.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm sure you'll get some input here with our community and our listeners. And I encourage everybody to contribute however you can to this beautiful mission that you have going on. Before we wrap up our episode today, can you share a little bit about like the business aspect of running a nonprofit
Mm-hmm.
organization? Because you mentioned about being an entrepreneur and kind of running the day to day, and it's kind of seems a little bit lived in the moment type of what does the day to day look like behind the scenes of running a nonprofit like this?
Yeah, there's some of the practical, boring things. My head's in the clouds in Liberia or the Congo or Sri Lanka or somewhere, but I go to the post office box and collect the checks that come in and deposit them in the bank when people donate. Of course, if they donate online, it comes through that platform. And then we have a bookkeeper who handles that I work with. And then we have a board treasurer who was the CFO of a multi-million-dollar company. And he's volunteering his time, one of my former players. So I have to track and follow the finances and look at the financial reports. So that isn't fortunately daily because that's not the favorite part of my job. But then some of it's taking time to do creative thinking about how we should promote what we're doing. Sometimes I do the Instagram and my Facebook posts. We have a board member who helps on the websites. Getting the information out is a lot of my job. We have to post updates regularly, and that takes brain power and it takes time. And so I do that part. And then, of course, I field, our vice president helps some, but mostly I field every inquiry that comes in for help, look it over, agonize over it, decide whether we're going to help or not help. And again, most cases, if it comes out of the blue, we simply can't. We just can't because we don't really know, because there's a lot of scammers. I don't believe the people that contact us probably are, and most of them don't seem to be, but we just say, I'm sorry, you just really need to look elsewhere. So there's just time with that and all the little details. Emails, I'm constantly on email. I'm on WhatsApp daily. People ask, oh, what'd you do today? Well, see, I was in Austria working on this new project. I was in Liberia. I jumped over to Indonesia. They're like, and I go, just from my home office, just from WhatsApp. And tomorrow I have a 7 a.m. Zoom with a soccer player we planted in Austria many years ago, who was going to go for 1 year and then come back and be a rich businessman. And he's now there. He's authored a book. He's doing all sorts of seminars. He's planted a church. I'm feeling the need to go visit again. So I'll be on a Zoom with him as well. So it's very random, my day. It's never the same.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
it's,
That's like any business owner.
yeah, I got dizzy looking at at all the things you offer and that you do that help businesses. Yeah, you have quite a few irons in the fire as well.
Yes, definitely. We got to stay fresh. There's always something innovative that we
Hmm.
could be doing, a different way that we can serve others.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Yeah,
we're both doing it just in different ways. So I appreciate that. And Dave,
I.
this has truly
Mhm.
been an amazing conversation. I truly thank you so much for being here and for sharing your story and your mission with us. It's been really insightful. I've loved learning about your nonprofit and what you do. And it's inspired me to, contribute to this footprint that you're leading as well and getting my family involved and even the children aspect of it. I can really see the greater good that you're doing and how the Lord is leading you on this path. And I pray nothing but the best and success for you and growth and prosperity in all that you do. Before we wrap up, would you mind sharing where listeners can find you and connect with you a little bit more? I know you mentioned Facebook,
Yeah,
Instagram, LinkedIn.
yeah, it's all. Well, thank you. And thank you for your kind words and having me. Yeah, really, our website is surgesoccer.org. And you can really go in quickly and get to the Liberia part. It's right there. But there's some other podcasts I've done, the books that I've written, a way to donate, a way to contact us. And then we love to get more Instagram followers. We have people from all over the world following us because we just do kind of mostly fun soccer stuff on our Instagram, but then some powerful messages too. But that's surge_soccer. So you have surgesoccer.org for our website, and then surge_soccer on Instagram. So we'd love to see some people following us and even saying hi.
Absolutely. And I built my business on Instagram, so I'll be over there and I'll give you a like and
Cool,
a
thank you.
follow.
We'll follow each other. I've been liking some of your posts on Instagram. I think they're relevant. I think they're good, and I think they're to the point, which is also excellent.
Thank you so much. I
Hmm.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Dave. This was incredible. And I know our audience will walk away with a lot of insight and definitely feeling inspired just as I have today. We appreciate you.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you too. Thanks.
We'll tune in next time for our next episode. Thank you.